Well, hello, welcome to another Mililani Minute. It's Thursday, and as we're going through these questions and answers, the timing of each of these questions comes as we look through the book Cornerstones. It's 200 questions and answers that you can use to teach truth. We've been talking about creation in general. The first week we talked about creation, and then now this is the second week, and we're wrapping it up today as we talk about creation as it pertains to Adam and Eve. We've talked about who they were. We talked about how he formed them or how he created them. We asked, what did God give them besides a body? We asked, in what way did God create them? We've even asked things like, in what condition and why did God create them? Well, now today we're going to look at two questions, and the second sets us up for our next discussion. So our next time we're together, we're going to begin talking about sin. And as we begin that, it really kicks off with the second of the two questions. But before we get there, the first question we have for today is, what were Adam and Eve to do? What were they to do? They were created, they were given a body, they were given a spirit, and now we see they were given a job. So what were Adam and Eve to do? Well, Adam and Eve, this is the answer. Adam and Eve were to rule over creation and start a family. We see that because at the very beginning, God spoke to them, and the very first words God spoke to mankind we see when He created them, and after He made Adam and Eve, they woke up, and He said, "Be fruitful and multiply." So be fruitful, there's a blessing, okay? But then multiply, start a family. Adam was to rule over the animals by naming them and working through, and he'd been doing that. That's how he realized, oh wait, I should probably have a mate too. And that's where we see Eve come into the picture. But here, the story that we see and what we see in Scripture is that Adam and Eve had a very specific responsibility. They were to rule over creation. They were to subdue creation. They were to manage and steward all of the resources in the garden that God had placed them in and given them. But they were also to start a family. They were to multiply. They were to have children and teach them of God, and that they would serve God. They would follow God, and in the perfect presence of God and in the perfect place that that God had put them, they were there to worship Him, to glorify Him, to love Him. They were there for all of these reasons, but they're in this garden, and they have everything they need to do what God has commanded them. Well, that talks about what's the next step. We talked about God commanding, so they had a responsibility. What was the command God gave Adam and Eve? And so the actual question is, what command did God give Adam and Eve? Now we say, what command? Well, there's one in particular that we really want to focus on. Clearly, be fruitful is both a blessing and a command. They're told to be fruitful, but they're also being blessed by being fruitful. They were told to multiply. Adam was told to subdue creation and rule over it. They were told to start a family. That's going back to the multiplying thing. But when we say, what command did God give Adam and Eve? Well, this is important because this command, this one thing that He told them to do, is important because their failure to do so resulted in the fall of man. So again, the question, what command did God give Adam and Eve? Well, God commanded Adam and Eve not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. He commanded them, do not eat. The very first do not was, do not eat of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now, there's a lot of questions out there. People say, why did God even make that tree? Why did He put that tree there? Remember, all things are for His glory, and He's able to do as He pleases. There's a reason why He did that. God knew before He ever started scooping that dirt together, before He even spoke out, let there be light at the beginning of creation, before the earth was void and without form, He knew they're going to fall. And I'm going to send Jesus, and I'm going to rescue them. I'm going to redeem back my creation. I am going to create a new heaven, a new earth, a place where there won't be any sin and sickness. Why? He knew exactly what was going to happen from the very beginning. So he set them in this garden. He put this tree there and he said, do not eat from this tree. You can eat of any other tree. You can eat of all the other fruit. Do not eat from this tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For in the day that you eat of it, you shall surely die, is what Scripture teaches. And we know the story. They went straight for it. Eve ate first, and then Adam. We're going to talk about that as we get into sin in our next week that we study together. But I do hope that these questions are encouraging to you, that you're able to use them nightly or even weekly to share with your children. And I hope that you, as a parent, you're watching these and you're learning from these, or you're just being reminded of some truths that maybe you knew these truths, but the wording is a little different, and it's just a good refresher. Whatever it is for you, I hope, no matter how you look at it, I hope that it's an encouragement, and hope that you've been enjoying them. It'll be a few weeks before we break into the topic of sin, but when we do, I'll look forward to sharing that with you. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a great day.